Now, Washington is buzzing with whispers of power and secrecy. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered every single American general and admiral to report for a closed-door meeting, a gathering of America's entire military top brass in one place. Now, this is rare, and this is quite evidently raising a lot of eyebrows. Take a look.
A call that has rattled Washington. All generals and admirals of the U.S. military are told to report for a classified meeting at Quantico, just outside Washington, D.C. Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, issued the unprecedented order. No leaks, no agenda, no exceptions. Not for routine war games or cocktail briefings. It seems something tectonic is brewing. With only hours' notice, hundreds of generals have dropped ops, left their posts across Asia, Europe, the West Asia, and hurried home for this unprecedented convergence. Not even those summoned know why. The official line is silence. Inside Pentagon hallways, gossip flies. A drastic new strategy, mass firings, budget cuts, or something more dramatic. President Trump, when pressed by reporters, dismissed the meeting as not a big deal. He also confuses it with a meet of military commanders of other countries.
But why is that such a big deal? I mean, the fact that we're getting along with the generals and admirals from all. Remember, I'm the president of peace. It's good to get along. It's good. You act like this is a bad thing. Isn't it nice that people are coming from all over the world to be with us?
It's not particularly unusual that generals who report to the Secretary of War and then to the President of the United States are coming to speak with the Secretary of War. It's actually not unusual at all, and I think it's odd that you guys have made it into such a big story.
Is it a big story? I mean,
I don't think it is, sir.
I would think it's no, but isn't it a good story? I mean, you know, we're respected from all over the world as a military force.
Such gatherings are extremely rare in American history. Even during wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, the entire military brass was never assembled like this. The mystery has only deepened with officials refusing to comment on the agenda. The world watches anxiously. Russia, China, allies, all reading the signals. Never before has America's war room closed ranks like this, and whatever happens next could redefine the nation's military future with ripples felt beyond the boundaries of U.S.
All right, so that, of course, is the situation. President Trump tried to shrug it off, but is it really a normal sort of an occurrence to gather all top brass of the military to one specific location? To tell us more on this, we're joined this broadcast by retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis from Sterling, United States. He's a military expert and also host of Daniel Davis Deep Dive. Thank you very much indeed, Colonel Davis, for joining us here on WION. Now, Donald Trump is trying to shrug it off, saying that it's not really a big deal. He says that it's great communication, it's what's going on. But to try and get 800 of the top military generals of the U.S. Defense Forces, is this routine? Can you think of the last time that this has happened? And why do you think the Pentagon wants all of them together in one location?
Yeah, it's most assuredly not common, and I am aware of no time in the entire history of the United States that it's ever happened. And the actual comment is not every admiral and general. It's every admiral and general in a command position. So it's not quite that many, but it's just as significant because it's every one of them. They said there are no exceptions, and that resulted in a lot of consternation among many of them that are talking offline and you know, not publicly, because they're saying we have civets, what's called it's a secure video teleconference, which they use routinely. I certainly used it when I was on active duty many times, even to talk to officials in Washington, D.C. So they don't really understand why would you need to come in person and face to face when you could have everybody convene one time without having to leave their command. Some of them were upset because, you know, we're in the Pacific area or in the Central Command area in the Middle East, etc., or certainly in the European Command. They're like, well, why should we all leave all of these places and assemble here when we can do so a normal means? And so that alone tells you something is very much out of the ordinary. In terms of why this is, unfortunately, all we're left with is complete guessing because very rarely, and I don't think that it was any coincidence, 3 days before this announcement, you had the Secretary of War say that new rules were going to be in place for the media that cover the Pentagon, and that now then they have to sign a document that says they will not use any kind of news from any kind of sources or anybody that may get through either classified or even unclassified sources that they talk to unless it's approved by the Pentagon, which is by itself a pretty big and problematic issue here. But then this comes afterwards. So whatever it is, they don't want anyone to leak this ahead of time. And, you know, is it something? It could be something big. It could be something related to renaming the Department of War, and I want to see you face to face. You know, I don't want it to just be on a television screen because I want to reinforce this. And we got to be honest, it could also be something kind of minor. It could be just like, you know, I just wanted to get everybody together here so you can hear from me, the Secretary of War, you know, what I think is important, et cetera. And you can't disclude either one of those. So we're all, unfortunately, just left to wait and find out.
All right. Now, the summons were, of course, issued by Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War. But the American President, Donald Trump, he's the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. Do you think he may want to have a word with all those general and commanding officers who will be assembled there?
Well, I thought those comments were kind of odd, the one that you just showed a minute ago, because he almost seemed like he wasn't even aware of it. And he said, well, I'll talk to them if they want me to, meaning that it implied that that was not the intent, that the commander-in-chief wanted to talk to his senior commanders. So I'm not sure what to make of that. He's kind of used that hyperbole in the past when he really did have the intent. But, I mean, all we can go by so far is what he's actually said. So you would think, but we'll find out.
We'll, of course, find out. Thank you very much indeed, Colonel Davis, for joining us with that perspective there.
Always my pleasure.